and then give him additional payment for all the work he put in for you. The scriptures say we ain't supposed to oppress the fatherless nor the widow. Meaning we ain't supposed to try and go in on people who ain't got somebody to provide and protect for them. Those who can't help themselves. Who ain't got no help. We ain't supposed to oppress those kind of people. That's what the law says, so that's what true love looks like. The scriptures say thou shalt not hate thy neighbor in thy heart, but thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. Meaning when we see people doing things that are self-destructive, we ain't supposed to just fall back and be like, well, that ain't got nothing to do with me. Not my problem. Like Mac Dre said, it's not my job. But what we supposed to do is let them know what ain't going on. Let them know if they keep sticking that, playing with that fork in the electrical socket, they gonna fry their brain. Don't just sit back and watch them do it. So that's what real love is. But as I said before, that's the keeping of God's commandments comes through love, and love is the keeping of commandments. They go hand in hand, but it takes a certain kind of mentality to get it down right. So this 1 John chapter 14, chapter 4 and verse 17. And it says, herein is our love made perfect, that we may have boldness in the day of judgment. Because as he is, so are we in this world. Meaning that we supposed to be just like Christ was, a perfect reflection of his image. We supposed to be a reflection of his image in this world. It says there is no fear in love, but perfect love casteth out fear, because fear hath torment. He that feareth is not made perfect in love. So boom. Or break and tell you what kind of mind state you got to be in. One thing for certain, two things for sure, you can't be no sucker and try to follow the Lord. It just ain't gonna happen. The Lord said perfect love casteth out fear. So if you always fearful, you can't be God's servant. You can't do nothing this Bible is telling you you're supposed to do. Because love is the keeping of the commandments. And perfect love, which is the perfect keeping of the commandments, ain't got no fear. Fear no longer exists. But everybody's scared nowadays. Everybody's scared of something. By the time you in middle school, people try and get strapped. You get a strap because you scared of something. You trying to protect yourself. That's fear. People put themselves in all kind of different predicaments, and that's fear. People go out and they try to go steal cars, rob banks, sell drugs, and do all these different kind of things out of fear. Because you ain't got no money and you don't know where it's gonna come from. That's fear, you scared. Perfect love casts out fear. Love is something that is made perfect through faith. Faith and fear ain't got nothing to do with each other. They like night and day. Light and darkness, they ain't gonna occupy the same space. So boom. This is Hebrews. Hebrews chapter 2 and verse 14. It says, for as much then as the children are partakers of flesh and blood, he also himself likewise took part of the same, that through death he might destroy him that had the power of death, that is the devil, and deliver them who through fear of death were all their lifetime subject to bondage. So the devil had the power of death. The word devil means, comes from the Greek word diablos, which means slanderer. And when you read Revelation chapter 12 and 9, matter of fact, boom. Revelation chapter 12 and verse 9. It says, and the great dragon and that was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world, he was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. So we know that the devil, Satan, that old dragon, deceived the whole world. And it says in Hebrews that he had the power of death. And he said that he had the people in bondage. He kept the people in bondage through fear of death. Through fear of death, they was subject unto sin. They was in bondage under sin. Because I tell you this in John chapter 8 and verse 31. John chapter 8 and verse 31. Said, then Jesus said to those Jews which believed on him, if you continue in my word, then you are my disciples indeed. So boom, you can't call yourself a Christian, which means to be a disciple of Christ, if you ain't continuing on in the word. If somebody asks you what your religion is, and you ain't rocking how Christ rocked, you cannot officially say that you are a Christian. He said, if you continue in my word, then are ye my disciples indeed. If you do it how he did it, now you talking about something. Christ ain't never celebrate Valentine's Day. That's number one. Christ ain't never tried to vote for any and elect somebody to the Senate. That's number two. Christ said, the prince of this world cometh and he had nothing in me. So he already understood that this world ain't had nothing to do with everything he was trying to teach. That's why he said, love not the world. Well, matter of fact, that's why in 1 John it says, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. Matter of fact, here you go. 1 John chapter 2 and 15. And it say, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. So boom, if you like the way things are going right now, you want to YOLO, you only live once, and you just try to live it up and make the best of this world, guess what? God's love ain't got nothing to do with you. He say, if any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life is not of the Father, but of the world. And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof. But he that doeth the will of God abideth forever. So boom, back in John chapter 8 and 31. He had just told the people that believed on him, if you taking me seriously and you taking everything I said to the heart and not just doing it one day out of the week and then pump faking the rest of the week, then you a real disciple. When you willing to put in work and not just sit on the couch and wait for Christ to drop out the sky and hand you some cotton candy, then you a real disciple. So boom, John 8 and 32. He said, ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. They answered him and said, we be Abraham's seed. We were never in bondage to any man. How saith thou, ye shall be made free? And he said, and he answered him, verily, verily, I say unto you, whosoever committeth sin is the servant of sin. And the servant abideth not in the house forever, but the Son abideth forever. If the Son therefore shall make you free, ye shall be free indeed. So back in Hebrews 2:14, we know that it said the devil had the power of death. And what he used was the fear of death to intimidate people into doing what he wanted them to do. And we know that the devil is just a spirit. It's an adversarial spirit that make you go against the grain. But people get that thought on them where they want to go against the grain based on fear. Because when you're looking for somebody to accept you, when you're looking for acceptance, that's a kind of fear. When you think that you got to go out and pull capers, that's out of fear. I done seen it before. Everybody talk about they ain't scared. Whoop-de-womp. If you wasn't scared, you wouldn't be pulling capers. You scared of losing your house. You scared of not feeding your kids. You scared you ain't gonna be able to eat tomorrow. So yeah, it's mask on. Let's go pull some capers. That's why Christ said, man, through fear. That's how you get put under bondage by the devil. Because you scared. If you scared, say you scared. When it comes to women, a lot of women are scared to go against the grain, so they just do whatever they see on TV. Whatever kind of fashion trends, whatever. They scared they ain't gonna be able to get a man if they ain't got their cleavage out. If they ain't got the short skirts and the high heels. Oh, that's what dudes like. I ain't trying to be by myself. I'm just trying to do what they like. You scared. You scared of rejection. You scared to do the right thing because you think somebody else ain't gonna like it. So boom, this is Proverbs 29 and 25. Proverbs chapter 29. And verse 25. It said, the fear of man bringeth the snare, but whoso putteth his trust in the Lord shall be safe. So boom. Rather than when you're looking at a situation like, okay, boom, we ain't got nothing to eat. Let me go grab this 45 off the dresser. Let me go put on my polo boots and